Hey, welcome into DomTime, everyone. It's our weekly roundup where we look at all things big and small. And the big story, as they say somewhere else in Philadelphia, making national news, not making it up. The city of Philadelphia is so diligent or desperate for tax dollars, they've gone back and they've calculated the number of lap dances at various gentlemen's establishments like cheerleaders and a couple of the others in town, and have hit them with tax bills of $400,000, $380,000. Dan Gross, you covered a lot of this stuff. First of all, what is the Daily News Dan Gross column definition of a lap dance? I've asked Stu Bykowski, the former columnist on this, and he had an interesting...
No, I feel certainly authorized to define lap dance.
Okay.
I actually remember when a club called the Crazy Horse 2 opened, I was sent to cover the opening of the club, and I wound up expensing lap dances, which I thought
excellent. I'd love to have that on my resume.
Yeah, that was an interesting,
exactly.
expense report, and actually got reimbursed, which was nice. My definition of a lap dance is where in a gentleman's club, you go into, it could either be done in the full view of the whole audience, or you are taken into some sort of private room.
Champagne room.
A champagne room, so to speak, and a dancer. I don't know why I was about to start shimmying and sashaying.
Feel free,
I'm
going
to stay still.
That.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
could do that, yeah.
A dancer will shake herself or cavort herself in some fashion in front of you, or possibly touching you in some manner.
That sounded like a Columbia
With her
School
body,
of Journalism. That's what the AP says
Exactly.
when they say lap dance.
Of course.
Now, and George Bacchetta, who's the attorney for this, viewers should know, and I've talked with Stu Bykowski, we've had on the air. Philadelphia, another laughing stock. The calculations, $400,000, $380,000 with this. And the argument is whether you should pay twice, double taxation.
Right.
We should be throwing bras into the Delaware, I guess, then instead of tea when it comes to this. Because this, to me, is just ludicrous how desperate they are. The thing I think they ought to do, Dan, is go after the big deadbeat tax dollars that are there. And guesstimates are $500 million to $1 billion, and various people that just don't pay their big taxes.
Right. And a lot of them, I think, are political donors, and there's people
Well,
who aren't being gone after because they have, like you said, other connections. This just struck me as absurd. I mean, the clubs are already being taxed. Now look, these clubs are mostly cash businesses.
Right.
So the onus is, of course, on the business to pay the appropriate taxes. But you have people who are more than likely paying some sort of cover charge to get in. They're paying inflated amounts for alcohol.
Right.
And if they're paying for lap dances and the club is getting a piece of that, one would expect that the club is reporting that in some fashion. And that, if the club is already getting taxed on gross receipts, why should they pay a second?
Not only that,
double
can you imagine sending the city guys out who, let's marry it to another big story that's been in the papers. We know more about the collapse of the building.
Right.
We can't see a building coming down, but we can calculate the lap dances.
Exactly.
It makes you a laughing stock. It really, really just reeks of it. Instead of bailing out on this, they seem now like they're going to continue to fight it.
Well, I think the city should be more concerned about the fact that a lot of the dancers in these clubs are independent contractors.
Right.
Maybe these dancers, if they're working a certain amount of hours a week, should actually be considered employees. Maybe they should have to be hired. They should get health care and other kind of benefits. I mean, that almost
wait
seems
a
like
minute,
more
folks.
of a-
Here, let's slow down here. That Obama, there's 2,200 pages, lap dance under Obamacare. People often tell me, and I don't buy the stereotype, I think they're mixed like anything else. These are all PhD candidates just working their way through, and that's why they're doing this. I think some of them are probably on drugs. Some of them have a difficult sort of thing. Some of them might be going to college.
Right. I think, I think strippers or dancers are probably as much of a mixed bag as any other kind of entertainers. I'm sure some of them have drugs or other kind of problems in their lives. But sure, I don't doubt that a lot of these young women are trying to pay for college or might work other jobs, or they might have kids, and this is a good way to work at night. There's flexible hours. They could either work during the day or work at night. Regardless, they're getting, it's like I said before, it's a largely cash business. But if if you're getting a private dance from one of the dancers, they're supposed to kick some of that money back to the club. So the club, you would think, again, is tabulating that money in some fashion when it reports. But I don't understand how the city figures out how many of these lap dances are provided. Because, if you got 7 days, during the day is not necessarily the peak time. Did they send inspectors in? How exactly did they
Yeah,
Did they
that's
figure
what
this
we're,
out?
they're incommunicado on that.
Right.
Wanted to talk about the other little scandal that's out there. Geraldo, who's a friend, I have him on, like him a lot, colorful character,
Right.
tweets a topless, just with a towel, if you can imagine at home, shot on Twitter just over the weekend, saying 70's the new 50. He's in great shape. He works out a lot.
is.
But boy, what a stir. What a creepy old man. You know, this is what Twitter does. You got any Twitter stories with celebrities of what is it, particularly athletes, Dan, that just can't resist saying the dumbest or inflammatory things or tweeting pictures?
Yeah, I think one of the problems, a lot of publicists and people who represent athletes and celebrities hate the fact that they want to be on Twitter. If the managers and agents could prevent their clients from being on social media, they would do it because of exactly what you just said. Someone, sends a hostile message to someone, and instead of ignoring it, they engage them. I mean, you might remember LaShawn McCoy from the Eagles got into a situation last season where the mother of his child was tweeting that he was a deadbeat dad, and he started telling his followers to attack her, and he started insulting her. He wound up having to apologize for it, and it became a whole situation for him off the field. But yeah, and look at Anthony Weiner, even though apparently it was good for him because now he's probably going to.
Well, Geraldo might run for mayor of New York. You got Spitzer, Weiner, you got and
exactly.
Geraldo.
But look, Geraldo's in great shape. I suppose he wanted to show that off for people. I think if he was at the beach or mowing his lawn and wanted to pose a topless photo, it would have probably been a little better received.
Photos. Now, this is what you get on the Roundup show
Yeah,
that you don't get the other nights of the week here.
The fact that he was in a towel, I think, made it lends to the potential creepy
Yeah, in the
vibe
bathroom. It's a definite creepophile, too. Right. All right, coming up, more of the stories that maybe made headlines and some of the ones that are just behind the scenes as we continue here on the Weekly Roundup with Dan Gross.